emotions. That's what we're going to be discussing. And a couple of videos back, I had talked about the don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. Right. So we've been brought up very well to not feel, don't feel. Right. So if the dysfunction is don't talk, don't trust, don't feel, then the functional way to get through life is talking, learning to trust, and learning how to feel those emotions that we experience. So we start talking in our recovery, whether it's in a 12-step group or in a therapy group or in our family or in the community. We start talking to someone. We start surrounding ourselves with trustworthy people. Probably not the ones that we're drinking and drugging with, but we start filling our life with people that we can trust. And then the third part is learning how to feel and to actually experience my feelings and not just cover them up when they show up. So I want to start with a little bit that's very elementary in the brain, how the brain works and feelings work in the brain. So feeling basically is this chemical reaction that our brain is spitting out, and we're having a physical experience. And so when we look at the brain, the way it evolved, the first part was the reptilian brain, and we have that as well. That's the part of the brain that basically takes care of our breathing and temperature regulation and heartbeats and all that. We don't really have any contact with it. It's just doing its part, and we're doing ours. And the second part of the brain that evolved was the limbic system in the brain. We go back to the reptiles. They just laid eggs. They walked away. They didn't care about their young. They maybe ate them if they were hungry. And then second to evolve was the mammals. And the mammals, well, they raised their children outside of themselves, and so they had to have an emotional connection. They had to care for that, and that's when the limbic system of the brain started evolving, and that's where the feelings are coming from. And then the last part is up top, the neocortex. That's the thinking part of our brain, and all three parts of it don't coordinate with each other. So we, as conscious beings, have to realize what is this? Is this a thought? Is this a feeling? What's coming up here? And so that's basically where our feelings come from. And then I always like to ask, part of this talk is part of a lecture I used to give. You know, do we have any control over our feelings? Or what control do we have over them? So I give the example. Let's just say we're driving down the road in our pickup truck and somebody cuts us off. Well, what's going to happen? Well, for me, immediately I'm calling them an SOB, and I'm flipping them off. And who do you think you are cutting me off? And I might even get in my truck, behind the wheel, and I'll look at him. I'll run him into the frickin' ditch. Who does he think he is? So that was that anger came up, right? We got that anger coming up. Now, did I have any control whether or not I was going to experience anger? Most likely not. I got angry. I didn't say to myself, oh, this makes me angry. I just had that experience of anger. And I wanted to chase it and put him in the ditch later on. So I don't think we have control all that much of the immediate of the emotion. We're going to work on, or what we're working on is how do I react rather than respond rather than react, right? So my reaction to that emotion is to chase him down the road without really thought and want to put him in the ditch. And my response might be, whoa, wait, step back. I can't be driving like a maniac. Let's figure out what's going on here. Excuse me. And we'll probably get back to that in a little bit. So what I wanted to talk about next then was this comes from, this passed from Kirk to me, comes out as Scream Louder, or The Healing Relationship is the name of the book. And Arthur Eugene, who Kirk worked with, and this is what he has come up with when we're looking at emotions, right? There's a feeling diamond. Oh, I don't know if you can see it very well. There we go, by the side scare. So up on top is joy, and then we got sadness and scare on the sides and anger on the bottom. So the anger is the secondary emotion. We're going to have the scare and the sad first before we get down to that anger piece down there. And so now I know that if I was in anger, you can see there's no direct line, excuse me, up to joy. It's either through the sadness or through the scare that I can get back to joy. Now, I try to go from anger to joy in my addiction. If I wasn't, whatever I was feeling, I would drink and try to get to that moment, those periods of joy. At least I thought they were joy. Um, so that's the feeling diamond. We'll be talking a little bit more about this as we go through this and pointing it out. And so there I am. We'll go back to the truck, and we're driving along, and I'm pissed off and I'm angry, and so I'm going to hang on to that anger. And most likely, if I'm still holding on to it when I drive in my driveway and I walk into the house, well, then the dog is going to get a kick out of the way, and the kids are going to get a look at who they think they are, and probably get pissed at the wife, and she has no reason understanding why I'm getting pissed at her. But I'm still carrying that anger. I didn't process it. So another way of looking at or going through life here and through these experiences is, excuse me, is to start feeling, right? So really what was happening was that anger in the truck. Now what came first was scare. Right? He scared me. He pulled in front of me. He scared me. I don't want to feel scared, or I wasn't ready to feel it. So I jumped right into the anger and want to put him down. Now, there's nothing wrong with anger. Anger is part of our humanness, a part of our life experience. Anger is okay. It's not a good feeling or a bad feeling. They're not positive or negative. They just are. And so for me to get back to the joy, though, I'm not going to get there in the anger, right? So what do I got to do? I feel, we have to process it. And there's many ways we process our emotions. One might be talking about it, give me a sponsor call, say this guy pissed me off, maybe writing about it, journaling it, getting out of me, or maybe it's just to yell at the SOB and tell them what I think, and flip them off. And that might express or push that anger out of me, something that comes up and out. For me, that's a fairly a healthy way to get out is to yell at them and then to get back down. Once I get through that anger, get back down to that scare and realize that, whoa, that guy cut me off. He could have hurt me. He could have wrecked my truck. What's he going? What's he doing that for? That was, ooh, so I'm just scared, so that I can experience that scare and let that scare, that emotion, those chemicals that are shooting down, let them pass through, and then I can get back to maybe the joy of my day, put the music back on, listen to my song or whatever it might be, and then head on home. And then I'm not carrying in the door that guy pissed me off, or because he scared me and he angered me, and I didn't know what to do with it or how to deal with it, and so I brought it home to the wife and the kids, and that ain't very healthy. That's doesn't really work. So it's learning about how do we, excuse me, how do we respond now to our emotions rather than react. And so for me, I want to step back even a little further. Before I even knew anything about emotions or feeling my feelings, those type of things, I was asked to identify them, find out what they feel like, because I just don't feel, I just didn't feel. And so go back, one of the assignments that you can try, one that I used was to watch a sad movie and cry. Oh, okay. This is what sadness feels like. And then scare, when I'm in those scare, find it. Where is it within me? Where am I experiencing that? So that I can be true to my feelings, so that I am, okay, this is what I'm feeling now. so that as I feel, I can get, back to that joy. So the process to get to the joy is to go through the scare or the sadness that's on the other side, the sadness or the hurt. Sometimes we're hurt, and we need to get back there, yeah, but that's the process. That's the process. Feel the anger, feel the sadness or the scare, and then experience joy. That's how we get to the joy. Does that mean we're going to stay in joy? No. No, joy is passing just like anything else. But we turn on the TV and everybody's selling us joy. If I have the right car and the right beer and the right wife and all the right stuff, well, then I'm going to feel joy, and that's just not so. Um, the way to joy, it's a byproduct. Joy is a byproduct of me going through my scare or my sad. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to create joy in my life, but I'm not going to stay there. And so I get to experience all my feelings, and I come to a point in my recovery and in my healing where they just are. They are feelings. There are some that are more comfortable than others. I'd rather be in joy than feeling that anger or that sadness, that hurt. I didn't want to go there, but that was part of the process as well as going through all that scare. And we'll talk about that in another video. We'll talk about grief and sadness and that process. But today was about feelings. I hope you got something out of this, understand a little bit of it. So we know how to get back to joy. And one last little picture example. We've all been on a roller coaster, and you can see when people are getting on, for the most part, people getting on, and oh boy, they're scared, right? And then we watch when that car comes back down off the roller coaster, and everybody's, woo, that was great, and yelling and whooping and hollering. And what happened was they went through their scare, and they created joy in their lives. So you too. So here's another beautiful thing about it. As I go through all these scares in my healing, going through these scares in my recovery, having to go to meetings and talk and get a sponsor and work the steps. There's a lot of scary stuff in there, but know that as I go through that scare, as I experience that scare, I'm going to create the joys in my life. And so go create some joy for yourself today. And thanks for listening, and have a great day now. All right, bye.